I didn't say this off air, but you guys are in trouble because you're in Trinidad, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I drive through Trinidad once a year.
Stop by.
Come on, buddy. We got lots of
Stop
room.
by. We have rooms.
I'm very fortunate. We get given, I think, 3 cow elk tags every year from Cianciarulo,
Okay.
Really?
which is between Warstenburg and Fort Garland.
Yep.
Walsenburg, that's it. Walsenburg and Fort Garland.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
And so I typically drive in because we got coolers and stuff like that, and I have to drive through Trinidad, up and over. So
Stop by.
Yep. Go on.
As I say, we're 5 miles off the I-25.
Before you hit Trinidad.
Yeah.
all right,
Mm-hmm.
you got a date, my man.
Yep. Lock it in.
My lady.
Okay.
That's we got the room.
Oh, perfect. Ralph and Vicki, I did get your last name correct in the intro to your kids. Cianciarulo?
That's it.
All right. It doesn't spell that way, but it sounds right. Right?
Well, in Italian, it's Cianciarulo.
Oh, just like me. See, German, it's Kroger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And here in America, I say Kroger, just like the supermarket.
There you go. Would be
And they're
good
like,
if you
oh, yeah. And they look at my ID. They're like, you own Kroger? And I
Way to
said,
go, bud.
I said, number one, I wouldn't be shopping here if I did. And number two, typically they catch my name in like airports and stuff. And I said, I wouldn't be flying Delta if I did own Kroger.
Right.
I'd have my own.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ralph and Vicki Cianciarulo, welcome to the Blood Origins podcast.
Well,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you. Thanks for having us.
Our paths crossed in Atlanta, I believe for the first time.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I've seen you before. Probably never had the courage to introduce myself. Because you're famous, right? You guys, that's the whole thing, right? That's
Just hunters. That's it.
We're just honors.
Why don't we just start there? What gives with this whole, like, I want to be famous and I want to kill things?
Okay. Well,
I know that's a tough question to start with.
From our perspective, or what's going on now?
Yeah. I'll put it in real quick terms. I'm an Italian from Chicago. I loved bow hunting, and I figured I had to come up with a scam so I could afford to go bow hunting. and what it was is started filming. Had an archery shop. Started actually making hunting videos. And then Vicki came into the shop one day with her ex-boyfriend. I killed him.
Ex-boyfriend at the time?
Yeah.
Long story, anyways.
No. And it just, she and I got together, and at that time there were no couples hunting, especially making videos. And we were fortunate, hit a little niche, and from the videos went to DVDs, from DVDs went to television.
But it goes back to, we did television and videos and stuff because we love to hunt.
Yeah.
And it was a way for us to go and do a whole bunch of hunts that we would never be able to do on our own because we didn't have the money to do that. So we use that as a marketing thing. Nowadays, though, I think people think that it's cool to hunt because you think you're going to become famous.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
But don't. I want to catch something you said earlier, and you said you think there's a difference between today versus when you guys started. And you guys have been in the game for how long now? 30 years?
Oh, yeah, at least.
Started filming in 85.
Okay, so almost, this is year 40.
Yeah.
2025, 1885? Ooh.
No, not 80.
Yeah, he's that old. I'm not that old.
Wait.
He's that old.
1995. 1985, sorry. Yeah, 40 years. Do you how many other people do you think are still around that are the old guard? Dare I call you the old guard? But
It's fine.
There's still some old guard out there.
Yeah, I'd say there's a handful of them. Today, as you know, I mean, it's changed where there's a multitude of ways of getting yourself out there if that's what you want to do. Before, it wasn't that way. It was, possibly writing, which no one understands anymore, writing articles, getting that exposure. Seminars
at different like consumer shows, the deer classics in the Midwest and stuff like that.
But as you know, those have even gone to the wayside. When we first started speaking at all those, I mean, it was packed, standing room only.
But it was the only place that you could hear somebody that,
yes.
right?
You didn't have YouTube. You didn't have that crazy internet stuff that we have nowadays. So you didn't have it back then. So you had to go to the different consumer shows, to the deer classics and the expos, to go and listen to someone and ask someone an actual question.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the availability wasn't there, period.
No.
And if, hopefully you had some type of support either in the magazines, you're going to laugh at this one, but radio, or, you know what I mean? Or, what personally helped me was a gentleman by the name of John Hussar. He was the outdoor writer for the Chicago Tribune. And that was a syndicated newspaper. I don't even know if it's still around, to be honest with you. But the big thing was he started on his Sunday columns. He was writing about my bow hunting adventures because I was going to, I was going to public land hunting and, was fortunate being successful. And when he'd write about that, it just helped to keep things, moving on for me. And it was just today everything's at one button.
Yeah.
It's at your fingertips, where it wasn't that way back then.
So honestly, and again, we're very authentic in what we do. You know that from me. You've seen me and you interacted with me. I want to pick up again. Another thing you said, Vicki, was we didn't do this in the beginning for the infamy.
No, we didn't.
You did it mainly, and dare I say this, selfishly, to I want to go hunt that muskox in Greenland.
Yes.
I can get someone to pay me to go do this amazing hunt that I've always wanted to do.
Yes.
And we're a marketing company.
That's what it boils down to.
That's what it boils down to. But it was because we wanted to go to different places. I mean, we've been blessed to be able to travel all over the world, but we didn't go and go shoot a brown bear in Alaska so that we could get a whole bunch of likes. It was because we wanted to. It was on our bucket list. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, though, it's like this Insta famous thing. Like you go out there and do stupid things and win stupid prizes, and then you get a lot more likes and followers.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah. Let me ask this question, and I don't know if you've considered this or not. I think one of the how do I couch this? One of the black marks against the hunting industry, dare I say you guys are in that hunting industry, i.e., the commercialization of a hunt for someone to look at.
Yep.
Is it bad to commercialize killing an animal? Because what you started by saying was, we're doing this just because we love to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you are a marketing company and we are commercializing that element of it, which is really at the end of the day killing something.
Absolutely. I mean, here's what it's a great question, because you are monetizing. You definitely, we are, a lot of people are doing that. I think the most important thing or critical thing is what is the message you're portraying? What are you trying? If it's a freaking ego, total destruction. If you can't turn around and say, listen, guys, you see this and it's wonderful, but reintroducing the gray wolf, this shit's all gone. It's all gone. If we can't at least utilize the platforms that we have, I think we're in big trouble. And if you today, more so than anything, and you may not agree with this, and that's okay. I love conversation.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Let's hear it.
I hate trophy hunting. I hate that word.
Let me ask this. You've been in the field. You live both American and international.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
Do you hear people say, I'm going trophy hunting in America?
That's
That's a good question.
Because I don't hear people saying, I'm going trophy hunting for a grizzly bear.
I think you hear them say trophy hunting if someone's slamming you online you're only trophy hunting, but you're right. We don't say, hey, I'm gonna go trophy hunt.
No, you might. You're right, because it might be coming more from the other side. Inserting that into our thought process. But everywhere you go, when we're all talking together, is you have it comes up, and a long time ago we were being interviewed, and we were asked I was asked a question, and they said, Ralph, you guys don't name your deer. You know where I'm going with this. That's stickers, or that's that's however you name your animals. And I said to him, and it popped in my head at that moment. And I said, well, yeah, I said, when I was growing up, I said, one person named their deer. And they sat back, and I reserved for saying it for a minute. And they said, well, who? And I said, Walt Disney. I said, and it almost shut hunting down. I said, because we gave a humanized personality to an animal. And I thought that was wrong. And to this day, I still think it's wrong. I think hunting is a complete, and am I speaking?
Yeah, no.
We think hunting is a lifestyle. It's not just going out and killing that animal.
Yeah.
It's creating better habitat. It's understanding conservation. It's trying to play a big part into such a small, minute part of this world.
It's family time.
It's
It's camaraderie. It's everything. And then the last bit of it is if you actually pull a trigger and, hopefully you come home and you fill the freezer. I mean, honestly, because we don't go looking at it, as you said, like trophy hunting, which is true. That's not something that you actually hear.
No. You hear it overseas more than you hear it here, I think.
Yeah, and I think like you do, like in Africa, people, if you go to the outfitters will say, you've got a trophy list, right? That's the list. It's not an animal list, it's a trophy list.
Yeah.
And they'll say, yeah, we've got some great trophy hunts available.
Yep.
That's where I hear it a lot. And that's where I think that the moniker has been bastardized a little bit.
I think
is the Africa specifically, really.
There's a trophy fee. Yeah,
there's a trophy fee,
right? I
Correct.
mean, even here in the States, you'll hear outfitters go, "Well, there's a trophy fee if he's 150 plus, or if he's if he's 400 plus, there's an additional trophy fee."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe we're our own self-destruction when it comes to that, using that word. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me ask this. You guys have been around for 40 years. What is something that in the beginning, and I think I know the answer to this, and there's probably a couple of, like, what did you, in the beginning, you didn't worry about at all? And now you worry about?
Social media.
Yeah, social media didn't exist. Yes, I understand. Yeah.
Did not exist. You didn't have to worry about people who would walk around everywhere with cameras all the time. Honestly, it was an easier life, I think, back then.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk to people about different things, like, if someone says, oh, I want to go hunt Colorado for elk, can you give me any information? Well, back in the day, Ralph would say, yeah, here, you know what? Call the Colorado Fish and Game Parks or whatever, ask them for how many, what's the elk quality? What's the elk numbers looking like in this unit or in that unit? And now you're just like, yeah, you know what? You go online, you type in, Colorado Game and Parks or whatever it's called now, because they combine the two.
Yep.
And it's easier to find information out that way. So I mean, that's a benefit for sure. That's not something that.
And you got tag application fees, agencies and services and stuff like that.
Yep.
You know what else I think? I think back then we hunted and we didn't care what we looked like. If your hair was a mess, if you didn't have the same pattern pants as you did, we weren't Gucci. We weren't.
Are you saying you're Gucci today?
He's
This
not
is this is a comparison thing, Ralph. So
No.
Gucci.
No.
Gucci.
Listen, look at me. Am I Gucci? Hell no. They would have threw me out a long time ago. This is a phase for radio. But no, if you know what I mean. I mean, back then it was wool. It was flannels. It was and then we transferred into like tree bark. You know what I mean? And you went into the stages of the different patterns. And let's face it, a lot of it's made for the human eye, not the nature eye. I mean, and you didn't have your bow did not match your quiver, that matched your stabilizer, that matched your gloves, that matched your face mask, your hat. It wasn't all the same. It was, you pieced together stuff to go hunting because there wasn't an array, an assortment.
Heck, back then there wasn't even women's
There
clothing.
wasn't women's
honestly.
clothing.
Yeah, go buy men's clothing,
It was all hand-me-downs.
what about the requirements from the companies? So your Bass Pro is one of your sponsors, right?
Yes.
Bass Pro Cabela's. Today, obviously, it's a different world, right? They want X amount of impressions. They want X amount of views.
Yep.
They want. What was it like then? Like, what did they want then?
They wanted good hunting for television or for videos. They wanted you to be
for seminars.
You know what I mean? They actually would have us do a seminar series or circuits. And you'd go from here to here. Every weekend we were booked, and it, we're not complaining. It was great. But the thing was, today, the new term is deliverables. So they want deliverables. You see a trend that, TV is not as important. It's, they don't value it. But what we always go back on, Robbie, is here's you know it, just like we know it. The average hunter is a lot older than we think. Upper 40s, even 50s on up. They have the expendable income to go to Africa, to go here to New Zealand, to go here in the States, to elk hunting, moose hunting. This younger crowd that literally just lives on their phones, the majority of them aren't going to have that money for many years to come. Mm-hmm. So you'll see, like, good example. We're going to head to the Yukon. We're going to get on the plane to go to Whitehorse. The average person's going to be in their mid-50s on up. If there is a young one, it's probably going to because it's a father and a dad. A father and a son going together, and dad's paying the bill. Or the son made money and he's taking his dad. But the reality of it is they're still older. So, TV is still relevant because that older consumer still sits in their favorite living room on their favorite leather chair recliner and watches whatever they prefer to watch. But we still have to keep the other venues of marketing and promotion to this younger crowd because we're planting seeds. It's just like a mother and father taking their kid hunting for the first time. They're planting a seed, and they may lose them. All the statistics show that the kids, all of a sudden, when the boys chase the girls chase the boys. You know what I mean? You lose them, but then when they start settling down in their lively careers and their lives in general,
they come back.
They come back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important. And today there's so much thrown at them. Oh my gosh, just scroll through with your thumb and you're like, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. The only thing that scares me is how much of it's true. We have so much fake news out there. Mm. You know what I mean? And also these bow experts or gun experts or hunting experts. And you got to do your research to make sure that these people really do have a good foundation behind them, that they really did do what, you know what I mean? Instead of claiming what they did. But if they don't have a foundation and they haven't done it and they haven't hiked the mountains and they haven't crawled through the swamps and they haven't done all this, are they just getting information from Google?
Well, and the other thing too you got to look at is that because everything is so instantaneously, everyone has a phone. Back in the day, we would film on the big cameras, go back, throw it on a computer, or when Ralph was originally doing it, he was decks, from one VCR to another VCR to back and forth to edit stuff. But now everything is so instantaneous. some people don't think, and that's hard because once you put it on the internet, it's on the internet. You're not getting it down. Someone's going to save it somewhere that fast. And there's so many things that people do when they shouldn't be doing it. And it makes us as hunters look horrible, and they don't think a thing of it.
Well, great point. We had a good friend of ours up in Illinois, sergeant of the Division of Wildlife. Okay. Mm-hmm. He told us they were writing more tickets and arrests from the internet. They had a 6-team member just watching the internet, not even going out in the field. Because, good example, your state, let's just say here, or Colorado, Illinois, I don't care, Florida, wherever, Texas. It states, you must tag your animal before you.
Immediately upon recovery.
Well, you're happy, you're pumped up, your buddy and you throw the deer up on the buggy, right? You hurry up, take a couple pictures, boom, post them right away. And you just broke the law. Mm-hmm. You just broke it. Now, is it a great law? Maybe not. But the reality of it is you just made a public record of doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems like, again, I don't know when those rules and laws are made, whether they're made before social media or not. It's a kind of gray area when it comes to stuff like that, but totally get what you're saying. I think people post stupid shit, and I've been, not me personally, but somebody tied to things that we've done, did a video. I'm a hunter. I want to show people my hunting journeys and my escapades, and wanted to become this influencer. And I got sent screenshots of this public video saying, that's my property he's on. And that's my boundary. You see in the background, you see that line? That's my boundary. And he's picking up a deer on my property. And I was like, stupid is as stupid does.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask this. Because I don't think their voice has changed. The anti-hunters' voice has changed. Did you hear any anti-hunting sentiment in 85, 95?
You know what?
And if you did, how did you hear it?
I would have to. So if you think about it, I was going to go back to when you went to Idaho.
Portland, Oregon.
Oregon. Sorry. And they had all the ranchers out. You were going in to go talk to somewhere. Yeah,
I was going to go do a seminar for their sports show. And I saw, and I was one of the guys from the I think it was the archery club actually picked me up from the airport. But we're driving, and I look at all and I was like, oh crap, man, PETA, humane. But I saw all the posts. I didn't read them, but I was like, oh, and I was like, well, here it goes again. Well, lo and behold, it was the ranchers and the hunters because they were trying to shut down cat hunting.
Yep.
Oh.
And I was like, holy crap! Wow, what a difference! You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what when I got out and then someone sort of recognized me and we started talking and they said, Ralph, do you own a cat? And at the time, I'm not a cat guy, okay? But I picked up a cat on the mountain elk hunting one time. It was a little kitten.
And we had a cat.
I threw it in my pack, you know what I mean? Took it home. But I said, yeah, I do. He goes, if I put that cat in a garage and put 10 mice, he goes, how long do you think it would take for that to kill? I said, well, it'll probably catch one, eat it. You know what I mean? So it'll take a few days. He goes, no. He goes, Ralph, that's not what cats do. Just like wolves. He said they kill. He said, so as it jumps on one, kills it, and another one runs by, it jumps off that one and tries to catch that one. Mm-hmm. He said, and now we're trying to turn around and shut down cat hunting, which, any time that we interfere with wildlife and we don't manage it, we get into a bad situation, just like we are right now. And it made sense, and I understood why. You know what I mean? But that was the reverse of your question, as far as pulling up somewhere and saying, oh, my God. We had people, literally send us letters back then.
Yeah.
You had people it'd be funny. At the consumer shows, right? We'd have we had the big screens and we're showing hunts. And what was funny back then, distributors, video and DVD distributors, the first thing they ask you when your new release, how many kills? That's what they asked, because that's what's sold. So,
yeah, because you were selling directly to hunters, right?
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. And that's okay. Hunters want to see that. It's just absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. But and that's why I think back then, like your question earlier, we didn't care. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't going out to the general public. It wasn't going to that 60%, because we got our 20% that live this lifestyle. You got 20% that are totally against it, but you got that 60 that always walk the line. That are they for it today and they're against it tomorrow? You know what I mean? So we didn't have that as much. But you would watch.
But the other side didn't have it as much either.
No,
that's the other thing. The other side only had the Sarah McLachlan ad at night.
Yes.
That old granny was watching because she was still up in her rocking chair, right?
He asked for the money. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the 60% in the middle, I totally agree with you. I think the 60% in the middle back in the day, it's 90s. I grew up in the 90s. I didn't know about hunting. I didn't care about hunting. I didn't have an opinion about hunting. It didn't come across my mind, didn't come across my feed. Nothing. It was, and the people who hunted, like you guys, went to hunting conventions and actively sought out DVDs, right? Now the anti-hunting establishment doesn't have to seek out anything.
Right.
It's laid on a public slather the entire time, a pulpit all the time, and they just go, "Oh, we'll take that, and we'll push it to make more money. We'll take that, and we'll make more money. We'll take that."
Oh yeah. We lived through it years ago when Ontario. Remember they were shut down spring bear hunting.
Yep.
And a very rich guy took a clip and they were running it as a commercial, and it was of a bear with a sow with cubs up in a tree. Well, and they show this guy shooting, and the sow falls out of the tree. What they didn't show was the real aspect of it. It was a dart gun that they were tranquilizing the bears. But again, that's media, buddy. That's what they do. They use a clip, they manipulate it, or a word, or a statement. They manipulate it to fit their agenda. And that's what they did. And literally, they won. But then they realized that the economic impact to shutting that down hurt their economy.
Yeah.
And when you hurt someone's pocketbook, then they start taking a real look and understand the scientific facts and the data, and they bring it back because they truly do know that hunting and management is an absolute positive tool for the future.
Yeah. Do you think? I'll couch this second question later. Were you, before the advent of social media, and I know you've just mentioned it on the DVDs, like the guys came up like, how many kills did you have, right? How many kills do you have on it? Did you feel pressure at that time for your hunts to be successful?
So I was going to say, one of the things that we've always said, and we truly believe, we wouldn't just say it just because we want to say it, is that if hunting ever feels like it's a job, then we're going to stop. We truly love going out and spending time in the woods. The pressure-wise, we just want to do the best job. If we're hunting with an outfitter, we just want to do the best job for them.
To help market them.
But we always just want to be out there in the woods and enjoying it all.
Well, but let's be
there's
totally
always
honest.
pressure with a camera, and you're developing something, and you
definitely.
That's what I said. Let's be totally honest. There's always a little pressure. It's like freaking a football player or a golfer. You want to do the best that you can. You know what I mean? But in hunting, just like possibly fishing, anything to do with the outdoors, there's an element there that you cannot control.
Right.
No matter how much you try. And that's where people get in trouble. They try to do too much and sometimes go against the rules to make that performance. If you, as an individual, put that pressure, and we never did, don't get me wrong, it stressed us out. There were times I was like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't believe we couldn't seal the deal. Damn it. I remember years ago with Wade up in Alaska, Renfro's was one of the first show. It was the first show, I think, maybe even on television, that we aired a show. We didn't shoot something. We were brown bear hunting. and we got socked in with weather off the Barren Sea. Vicki and I in a 2-man tent. You know what I mean? Our guide
for like
in there
20 days.
Yeah, 21
horrible.
days.
It was
Oh,
bad.
I know. It must be horrible to be next to your wife for 20 days in a 2-day tent. I get it, Ralph.
Yeah.
I get it.
Stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
And this
okay.
is why we started hunting together. I'd much rather be in 21 days 2-man tent with her than with you. You know what I
The
mean?
guide, exactly.
but we aired that show, and we asked Wade.
How many times had somebody aired at that time? Was it common for people to air shows with nothing being killed?
No, it wasn't, because then, honestly, egotistical. Oh yeah, you suck. You didn't kill something. Well, we did. We did. You know, we did suck. Oh. No, but I mean, you know, and we asked Wade, and Wade said, "Guys, I know you'll do a good job. You know, do it." Wade to this day still says he got tremendous feedback because people were just, you know, letting him know how real it was. And that's if you truly portray hunting real, that pressure won't be as severe as others who think it's an egotistical trip. That you know what I mean? Oh man, I got to shoot a 190-inch buck. I got to do this, or I got to do that. It's got to be gold medal or whatever it is. It's got to have this status. You don't. If you portray hunting as it truly is, you know, I guess I go back to always saying for people, because you've had to discuss, just like you, we have to talk to that 60%. You know, forget the 20. They're always going to be against us.
When did you make that decision to do that?
To do what?
What you just said.
Put a note.
Talk to the 60%.
When?
A while ago.
Yes, a long time ago. That's why when we entered, I was known as a bow hunter. That's how I grew up. I didn't grow up gun hunting at all. Okay. Well, then when Vicki, you know, we started doing it and all the bow hunting. But we aired a show. This is like in 2004, but we even had this mentality way before that. But it was a show. We went Dall sheep hunting in Alaska, bow hunting. Buddy, we couldn't get within 120 yards. Okay, we just couldn't. So the outfitter flies his cub into us on day 11. Now it was a 10-day hunt, but he said, if you guys can try to stay. And he gets off his plane and he says, put that effing stick and string down, take the gun, and go kill. You guys have never been here for sheep. Go kill some sheep. Go hunt the sheep.
And mind you, for 10 days on that hunt, out of, what would you say, 8 of those days, we saw 2 legal Dall rams. But they were farther than 120. They were 200 yards every time. But we saw them almost every day. But they were we were hunting in the Wrangles. It wasn't bow hunting.
It wasn't
conducive for bow hunting. I mean, we messed around with grizzly bears and stuff.
So we took the gun, hiked 6 hours, something like that, straight up, got above them.
I thought RJ was going to be an orphan on that day. I promise you.
I shoot the first ram. He just, one shot, he tumbles down. The next ram that they were the same pair.
They were together.
That one hooks and stands in the sun perfect. I'm up behind the camera. Vicki got on the gun. She shoots. And in 4 minutes, we were done. And we aired that show at Under Archer's Choice. We got bombarded. How dare you? You guys weren't sheep shape. You weren't this. You suck and all this stuff.
You showed a rifle hunt on Archer's Choice.
How dare you? And was like, buddy, that's when it hit us even harder. That we, as hunters, are cannibalistic to our own. You know what I mean? We saw it. And that's what made us introduce our second show called The Choice. And The Choice is real simple. We don't care with what you hunt, how you hunt. If it's legal, shut up and go hunting. So that's where, but way before that, way beyond that, I saw it personally because when I started including Vicki, I was getting people that, I won't say their names, wrote articles at the time, we're well versed, in the hunting community. And they're saying, Ralph, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Man, this is a guy's thing. And I sat back and I said, no, guys, you're wrong. I said, moms are with the kids way more than we are. If mom, at least, even if she doesn't hunt, But if she understands it more, it's more acceptable. Maybe the kids, mom will say, you know what, you guys need to go with dad. You need
Yeah.
to go hunting. And
Yeah.
especially if we get mom hunting and she sees it, I said, it's a win-win for everybody. We got generations continuing this lifestyle. But if it's just strictly a guy's thing, we're screwed.
Mm. Mm. In obviously the changing of times and the changing of distribution strategies and the rise of I would say more of a commercialization of hunting, right? With the whole like influencer model that is what we live today. You've probably been around people who have, because of pressure that we've talked about, have pushed the envelope into illegality because they feel like they needed to.
Yep.
Okay. In your opinion, are we facing more of a crisis in that today than you guys did in the beginning? I know how I'd answer.
If you mean by, we feel that there's more people doing that and feeling the more pressure and doing more illegal acts yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Just because social media.
Yes, absolutely. Social media has created it.
It's out there more public, and more people are hungry and want to be the Robbies or the Ralphs and Vickies, or you know what I mean? They want to be it. So they think they'll do
Robbie's a terrible hunter. He doesn't post any of his hunting shows or hunting episodes because I'm notorious for not hunting very well. So don't lump me in the category with the legends like you, my man.
No, but there are people out there, and again, it goes back to it's that social media, that instant gratification. They think, well, no one's going to notice. Like you made the comment, well, that was my property and that's my property line. Well, no one's going to notice. I'm out on 400 acres. No one's going to know that I jumped that fence and went and filled my tag there.
But hey, bring up a name, okay?
I'm not bringing up any
No,
names.
I am. Oh. I will if that's all right.
I'm not bringing up any names.
There was a guy, and it could be in the 90s. I might be off a few years. His name was Don Lewis.
Oh.
He presented a proposal to the archery industry. He was going to break all the world records, and he already had shot some big animals. Well, so he was doing videos, and he offered a dear friend of ours, Andy Simon, who started New Archery Products, Thunderheads and Spitfires and all that. Andy showed me this proposal, and I was like, Andy, how could somebody tell you that they're going to break the world records? You know what I mean? With a bow. I said, unless they're shooting them in a fence or they're buying them, how do you do that?
Or they're spending 360 days a year, spending 25 days or 30 days looking for a moose that's world record class kind of thing.
And they're hiring people to do most of it.
Yeah.
Well, in reality, Rob, somebody recognized some of his footage off a video and center punched him right where he was in Yellowstone National Park with a giant bull elk, big mule deer, and everything else.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he got busted. So I guess where I was going with that is back then it was there too.
It just wasn't so public.
It wasn't so public. It wasn't so instantaneous. Boom on a screen in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was there.
Yeah, I don't know what it actually, there's a term. I think maybe it's Occam's razor, maybe. There's a term for what that is, which is people say, calamities around the world are increasing. No, not really. We just didn't hear about them before, right? There's more of this around the world. There's more of that. And it's like, not really. Because we just learn about them now. It's like instantaneous that we can hear about it.
24-hour-a-day news channels.
If you remember Jimmy and Linda Talliart, friends of ours from South Africa, met them in 93, great people. They made a comment to us once, remember that?
Yep.
That in our country, we talk about crime, it being crime, right?
Yeah.
But if our country is talking about things going on in Africa, it's violence.
Oh, okay.
But it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So there was a murder in Chicago, but it's a crime. It happened. There was a murder. There's a crime in Chicago. But if someone were to be murdered in South Africa, in Joburg, there's violence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, and now you've got it 24 hours a day. I mean, they still don't even talk about how violent it is in a lot of the big cities. It's just crime.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. One of the reasons I'm asking all these questions is it ties to RJ and Aubrey's podcast that I did with them, because I feel like they're almost at a disadvantage if they're going to, and I say that, I'll explain why I say that.
Sure.
I think people who want to hunt for a living and afford to have a lifestyle tied to it, like you guys when you started, it was a lot easier. I'll say easier, and again,
right, in general,
because there wasn't like huge pressures around you, and there wasn't all of the things that we have to deal with today. There were other pressures, there were other things that you had to worry about, right? But not totally germane to the anti-hunting rhetoric, or probably more germane to an RJ and Aubrey, is the internal hunting industry, community, politics, and viciousness that it is. And so one of the things that I told them, well, actually, before I tell you what I told them, I'll ask you the same question I asked them, which is, you've been around for 40 years. What do you think is going to save hunting for the next 30 for RJ and your grandson one day to be potentially a part of it?
I got to stay back with exactly what I've been doing my whole life with it, is understanding the value that wildlife management, the tools it plays. I mean, if we put a value on an animal, we increase its lifespan, because you know what I mean? If we can seriously learn more about each one of these animals, and their habitat, well, then we can create better habitat, like we're doing. You know what I mean? So many people are naive, and I say this because they don't understand. At DSC, good example, conventions. A lot of these big conventions, and you hear it online, but you don't hear it anywhere else, because we don't say it to anybody else. We're so afraid to say we're a hunter. We are. You're like, oh, I'm just gonna. It's like saying I don't want to tell them I'm a Republican or a Democrat. I don't want to tell them I like Elon Musk, or you know what I mean? Oh God, they'll burn my vehicle.
No, it's funny you say that. One of the analogies I use when it comes to hunting and hunters, if you had to rewind the clock 10 years in the gay and lesbian communities, the gay and lesbian communities were in a closet, right? And they liked to stay there. They were just like, don't worry about us, don't talk to us, we're happy where we are. Well, fast forward 10 years, the gay and lesbian community is way out in the public, super loud and proud. Everybody knows about it, and hunting and hunters are now in this closet.
Yep.
And every so often the closet door gets ripped open and we get punched in the nose by something, and we come kicking and screaming out and we're yelling and whatnots, and then we just go back in the closet and close the door.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a good analogy. Yes.
You're on. Because why do most people like hunting? The solitude of it. You know what I mean?
Lots of reasons. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of reasons. And I challenge people to say, when I say, I don't think you like hunting because you like killing.
No, that's
like, no, I love killing. And I was like, do you? Because if you did, you'd be volunteering your time down at the local abattoir and killing a ton of shit.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But honestly, maybe it's more of a masculine response in saying something like that. But to me, it's funny. It's a paradox in that we hunt. The difference between hunting and hiking is hunting has a purpose in which we want to kill, and we want to kill an animal. Okay, that's the difference.
Yes.
But paradoxically, the hunt, as defined, is chase, stalk, whatnot, and this failure internally built into hunting. But when you do succeed in this thing that you love, which is killing, the thing is that you love so much is over.
Yeah,
You're right.
It's over.
it is.
So it's anticlimactic
It's
because now
extremely
it's like,
anticlimactic.
oh, it's done.
Yep.
Like I've worked for 2 years and it's done. Oh, and not that we're like that. I'm just. It's a funny. Again, the only way I can frame it is it's a paradox, and that there's this thing that we love so much, which is hunting, but this thing that's at the end is a kill. You have to do it to fulfill your hunt, but it's also the thing that ends your hunt,
Yep.
and that's the thing that you love.
Right.
It's difficult.
It is. No, you're right. Because if you think about it, I mean, you don't go out and you don't kill something every time that you hunt. You know, that's part of the hunt. Like if you did it every time you kill, every time you went out hunting, then it would just be called killing.
See, and if you go back to my first videos, okay, you'll hear me say, I killed that bear, I killed that deer. I didn't harvest it.
Right.
I killed it.
Yeah, for a while there, you had to use the word harvest.
Yeah, but
but I'm not. I'm in the camp that I use harvest also, and here's why. I'm in the game of PR.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the game of hunting PR, and I'm also in the game of hunting marketing, but not to hunters. I'm in the marketing game to the 60% in the middle.
50%. Yep.
And the people that don't understand hunting. And so I'm going to change. It's marketing 101. You change your communication style to fit the audience that you're chasing.
Absolutely.
And if the audience that you're chasing doesn't like the word killing and they'll accept harvesting, I'm going to use harvesting.
Yes.
And it's not me being a snowflake. It's not me apologizing for hunting. It's just because I'm talking to a different crowd.
Well, that's what makes any speaker successful. Read your audience and go with the flow.
Exactly. So you said wildlife management. Seeing hunting as a tool for wildlife management is going to save hunting for the next 30 to 50 years. That's what Ralph said.
That's only part
That's
of it.
an attribute of it.
Okay.
We definitely need to grow the number of hunters.
Okay.
That scares me. I just saw just today that the state of Utah, is doubling their permit fees. Doubling.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's look at. So here we are.
For the rich.
We're trying to have RJ and Aubrey continue the lifestyle that we were so blessed. We are blessed to have been able to do and continue to do. And now you're telling me, I mean, from $1,000 for an elk tag, it's going to be $2,200. That's just for the permit. Just the permit. Yeah. So now, we just kicked out that 20% that does what we do. We just kicked out about 18% of the 20.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep doing that consistently. Mm-hmm. We do. So that to me is a con, definitely. And I think if we could get somebody, Mr. Musk, to look to look at our state organizations, I think we could cut out a lot and say, you know what? Let's get back to letting the average human being that wants to live this lifestyle afford to go hunting.
The other thing too is when you had made your comparison about being in the closet, that is something that, I mean, even though we have a platform, we are not vocal enough to continue to try to explain, to tell people we need more people that like to hunt, that like to, shoot guns and stuff like that, to go ahead and become part of be part of it, be active within the government, so that you don't have all these anti-hunters running on all the boards and everything else like that, creating more costs on all the tags and making shorter seasons. And all of a sudden you got non-residents can only draw tags here in Colorado for elk instead of being able to go over the counter. You know what I mean? Like
we're taking opportunities away.
Right. We all need to be more active to help this. And that's something that we need to do. We have a platform to do it on, and we do some.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely
we could do a better job.
We could definitely do a better job.
I don't know if you ever heard of Hunter Nation.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but you look at what they're trying to educate the average sportsman on, and that is good example. 60% of the people that purchased a license in Pennsylvania didn't vote,
Yeah.
didn't cast a vote.
I mean, that's huge. Like, that is one thing that we definitely, right before the election time,
Yeah.
we're like, you guys, your vote matters. People don't think it does, but we need everyone to understand that if we want this hunting lifestyle to be around for RJ and our grandkids and maybe his grandkids, we all need to be a little more vocal. We all need to be a little more active on it.
I mean, we
vote.
I'm sorry. You know exactly what you're doing, what we're all trying to do. You look at I'm gonna Zuckerberg,
Mhm.
right, Mark?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When he said he was going out and shooting wild boar, he said it, and he got slammed, but he defended it. Now, will he still defend it? I don't know. I'm not speaking for him at all. But taking the food, taking the animal and bringing it to the kitchen is another aspect that can help us, that can continue, because I think, and again, I'm assuming this, people are starting to realize all the crap that's in this processed food. Well, if all of a sudden we can start showing them, man, elk, how great it is. If we go to Africa, gemsbuck, eland, all of that, but everything that if you can bring that and show the value of that, and how it helps your whole family to be healthier, that's another plus.
And
that's a pro.
And the other thing too is what a lot of people, that 60%, what they may not understand is that there's game laws against wanton waste.
Yeah.
Like, if you go and you get yourself an elk or a deer or whatever, you can't just let that rot. You actually have to take all that meat home. I mean, some states, Alaska, like, you have to take everything out basically. Everything. I mean, you cannot waste that meat, and why would you want to? But
those are poachers. That's a poacher. That is not a hunter.
Right.
No, those are great, great things about, how to save hunting, like focus on the meat and focus on the management. I like it a lot. Obviously I come from it a little bit differently in terms of what I do day in and day out. And one of the things I imparted on RJ and Aubrey, it was mainly more of, I guess, internal to the hunting community, but also to potential pitfalls that, are going to come with the pressures that come with what they are endeavoring in. And the episode, I can't remember what I said to my team, what their episode's going to be, but it's tied to what I said to them. I said, the thing that's going to save hunting is thinking. And here's what I said, is thinking.
Yep.
And the reason I said it is this, is that at every step of the process of hunting, a hunter has to make a decision.
Just decision.
Mm-hmm.
And in that decision-making process, you have to think. From, is that the right animal to take? Am I going to be seen in the right light? Am I taking a picture the right way? Is the animal being seen the right way? Am I saying the right thing? If somebody comments, am I doing the right thing back? Am I saying the right thing? All of these things you're thinking about, even to the point of, do I post or not post? Do I shoot or not shoot? Do I kill or not kill? Do I say things or do I not say something? It's all a thinking process by which, at the end of the day, if you have thought through, like, the lens of the 60%, how is somebody who's never hunted before going to perceive what I just have done?
Right.
Or what I'm about to post, or what I'm about to say? Just a lens like that. And again, that's just infusing a little thinking into your day-to-day basis. Anyway, that's because I live that world. That's what I told RJ and Aubrey. And I said, hopefully a little bits and pieces stick and they take it forward. And
they will.
Yeah, I'm excited. Final words?
On our end?
Yeah.
First off, I love that you give a platform that allows transparency, that you know what I mean, that you reach in to the souls of people and you take out what is needed to be said, but too many people are in the closet and are afraid to say. Number one. Number two, there's so many tremendous organizations out there, DSC, you know what I mean, and the others that truly are conservation groups. And some people, because of the name, they stray away from it because I'm never going to do a safari, or I'm never going to hunt elk, or I'm never going to hunt mule deer, whatever it may be.
Right.
Please give time to those organizations, research them, and understand. I watch TV and I watch this commercial, and this organization comes up and they're asking for $19 a day to save an animal, a cat or a dog. I watch in next 30-second commercial comes on. They're asking for $11 a day to help save a warrior. I'm sorry, but that's effed up. When we put in a cat or a dog's life in front of a warrior that has given everything give us the honor and the privilege to live this lifestyle, that's screwed up. And I think if my closing statement, I'm not hers, but mine is, let's turn this around. Let's give thanks. And when we can give money to the right organizations to help those who actually do help make a difference in all of our lives.
Well, and there's ways to research that too. Make sure that when you are making the donations, the money that's going in, there's websites and stuff to find out, whether it's for your conservation or if it's a veterans organization or anything. See how much money is actually that you're donating, how much of it's actually getting used the way it's supposed to, not just to those CEOs up above.
And it's a government rating. Simple.
Yeah.
If they say it's 52%, that means 52%
of each dollar.
So of each dollar.
Of a dollar. You
want those organizations that it's in their 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all. And again, I think on our, why do we have everything around the choice?
Yeah.
And it's simple, because we just want y'all to go hunt. Don't degrade somebody if they're hunting a different way. You know what I mean? Or with a different weapon. It's just look at it. And if it's legal, I'm not saying you have to do it, but embrace that man or woman or those children and say, hey, high five, man. You know what I mean? If somebody shoots a small whitetail buck and they post it, they're excited. We don't know any of the backstory. We don't know that individual has been hunting public land for 5 years, never even seen a deer from their tree stand or ground blind, and they finally shoot the first deer, and they're so happy. They post it, and everyone goes, man, you should have gave that 4 more years. I'd never shoot something like that. Man, just say congratulations.
And the thing is with you saying that, the big thing is that hunting community, we, like you said before, it's cannibalistic. Yeah. I mean, like if I'm an archery hunter and I use a compound and he uses a longbow, we're going to bicker back and forth. As a hunting community, like you said, whatever you use to hunt, as long as it's legal, don't fraction us all off into little bits, because you know what? As hunters, we need to be one number. We need to be one group, because then the politicians and all the laws and everything else that goes on, they're going to look at us as one big group, not, okay, here's a muzzleloader group, but they don't like the inline muzzleloaders because they do that or something else. We need to stay as one group. We cannot keep fractioning ourselves off between dog hunters, for deer, or dog hunter, or
bait hunting for bears.
Hunting, or we got to stop fractioning apart. We need to stick together as one group for our numbers to actually count when they need to.
Bottom line, we win by numbers.
Yeah.
And anything. It's and if we continue this path that we're in, the next generations will not be able to grab their little Daisy Red Ryder and go shoot grasshoppers in the backyard, because it'll all be shut down. We have to embrace this, and we have to stop the fighting amongst ourselves. If we do that, and we're not going to get everybody right. We're not naive. We're not going to get everybody to agree. But if we increase the numbers, if we just increase them, we helped make a difference.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Your fiery speech at the end reminded me of an episode that we did with Travis T-Bone Turner called Celebrate. And his message was just celebrate somebody.
Yes.
Celebrate them hunting.
Yes.
Celebrate whatever they take, because in their eyes, it's the best thing that they've ever done. So
Travis is spot on.
Yep.
Ralph,
Love
Vicki,
him,
thank
man.
you so
Good friend.
much. I appreciate you. I appreciate the development of a friendship, and look forward to crashing and getting some good food in
Absolutely.
Trinidad, Colorado
Come on
sometime
on
this
by.
year.
God
We'll do
bless
it.
you, brother.
See you guys.
All right. Take care.